Dueling arguments over Prop 8's progress to the Supreme Court, a lot of bad news in Wyoming. Marriage support continues to climb in battleground states, and a cliffhanger with cookies in Iowa. I'm Matt Baum with Stop8.org, and welcome to This Week in Prop 8 for Monday, January 31st, 2011. Ted Olson, a lead attorney in the case against Proposition 8, sent a letter to the California Supreme Court this week explaining why, in his opinion, the court shouldn't get involved in the case. His position boils down essentially to none of your business, arguing that this is a matter for federal, not state courts. The case is stuck in a holding pattern right now, with everyone trying to figure out whether the anti-gay proponents of Proposition 8 can intervene and take the place of Attorney General Kamala Harris in defending Proposition 8. If the California Supreme Court agrees with Ted Olson and doesn't intervene, then the case would be decided quickly and, most likely, against Proposition 8. From there, it would move to the United States Supreme Court. But if the California Supreme Court does intervene, it would mean lengthy delays, possibly over a year, and a win for the gay couples would be far less predictable. That's why Ted Olson wants the state Supreme Court to stay out of it. Also filing letters were the proponents of Prop 8. They want the Supreme Court to intervene. And the city and county of San Francisco took a novel in-betweeny position, arguing that if the court takes the case, it should reformulate its approach in a way that's more favorable to the plaintiffs. The California Supreme Court will rule on the matter sometime in the next few months. But in the meantime, this week's comment bait asks, should they get involved? Ted Olson says no. The question of who defends a ballot proposition is spelled out in Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution, and therefore a state court cannot rule on the matter. The proponents of Prop 8 say yes, California court rules say that the Supreme Court can intervene when there's no controlling precedent. And San Francisco says maybe, but if the court does intervene, they should consider that no one would be hurt if Prop 8 was overturned. So what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Meanwhile, in Wyoming, there was disappointing progress on one of several bills jostling for passage that would limit marriage. One, which would allow voters to nullify the marriage of any gay couple the moment they enter the state, was passed by both the House and Senate this week. But there's room for hope. Wyoming Governor Matt Mead expressed concern about the bill, saying, quote, "We do not want to, as a state, limit access to our court system." The bill is also opposed by Senator Chris Rothfuss, a Democrat from Laramie. Yes, that Laramie. There's also encouraging news this week. The Human Rights Campaign released a new report showing that support continues to grow in every state. And 17 states show majority support for equal marriage, including battleground states like Maryland, Hawaii, New York, and Rhode Island. In Hawaii, a civil unions bill is sailing through the legislature towards a supportive governor, Democrat Neil Abercrombie. And in Maryland, legislators introduced an equal marriage bill this week, with hearings scheduled for February 8th. Iowa remains a cliffhanger. This week, a Republican attempt to force a vote on gay couples' marriages was defeated by Democrats, and although the measure is expected to pass the House, Majority Leader Mike Gronstal has promised to block it in the Senate. A hearing on the bill last week was attended by organizations on both sides of the debate, including an anti-gay group called the Family Leader. That organization brought cookies to share with gay families, claiming that by doing so, they were, quote, tangibly showing love to people who struggle with homosexuality. So, to sum up, what they're saying is no, you can't visit your husband in the hospital. If you get divorced, you can't share custody of your kids. If one of you dies, you lose your house. And if your wife's from another country, she'll be deported. But here, have a cookie. Worse yet, photos from the event show that the cookies were store-bought. A public hearing on the Iowa legislation is scheduled for Monday, January 31st at 6:30 p.m. in the State House. You can follow along with One Iowa at twitter.com/OneIowa. This week's action item focuses on Maryland, where legislators are waiting to hear from constituents on the Religious Freedom and Civil Marriage Protection Act. You can help. Visit marylandpop.org. It's a new tool developed by friendfactor.org designed for straight people who want to help their gay friends. If you live in Maryland, the site will allow you to ask your legislators point blank, do you support my gay friend's freedom to marry? And if you don't live in Maryland, the site will help you spread the news online to find Marylanders who can help. We'll be checking in with the Friend Factor gang next week to find out how their efforts in Maryland are going. In the meantime, you can watch our previous episodes to get all caught up, or you can subscribe to get new episodes as they come out. We'll see you next week.